We have the tariffs being argued before the Supreme Court right now, and I'm giving you a window into those proceedings. It'll be a while before they finally hand down their decision, but this is the arguments made. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Trump says this is the number one issue. United States ending issue is his ability to conduct his tariffs. Here's Amy Coney Barrett.
And then if you win, tell me how the reimbursement process would work. Would it be a complete mess? I mean, you're saying before the government promised reimbursement, and now you're saying, well, that's rich, but how would this work? It seems to me like it could be a mess.
So the first thing I'd say is that just underscores just how major a question this is. The very fact that you were dealing with this with quotas, there's no refund process to the tunes of billions of dollars or embargoes, but there is here. But for our case, the way it would work is, in this case, the government stipulated for the 5 plaintiffs that they would get the refunds. So for us, that's how it would work. Your question, I take it, is about everyone else. We don't have a class action or anything like that. With respect to everyone else, there's a whole specialized body of trade law, and it's in 19 U.S.C. 1514 outlines all these administrative procedures. It's a very complicated thing. There's got to be an administrative protest. There was a harbor management case earlier that this court was involved with in the United States Shoe, in which
this guy is arguing against Trump's tariffs. And then he stands before Amy Coney Barrett, makes his case, and they have a discussion. But the biggest problem with this discussion is if the tariffs get overturned, there's going to be a lot of money that we have to refund. So the argument is, how messy is it? He's actually thinks he's making the case to Amy Coney Barrett, but he's naming all these laws and all these things. It's going to be incredibly complicated, which I think goes in Trump's favor.
The refund process took a long time. There were any number of claims and equitable relief.
So a mess.
So it's difficult,
okay.
Absolutely. We don't deny that it's difficult, but I think what this court has said in the McKesson case in 1990 is that serious economic dislocation isn't a reason to do something. Northern Pipeline, you guys stayed your decision for a while in order to let the congressional process unfold. There may be a congressional process here as well. You may be able to also be that this court could limit its decision to prospective relief under the John Q. Hammonds case. So there's lots of possibilities.
So he's saying they wouldn't, even then, he's not pushing for a case that would be all-inclusive. It would be kind of local just for that case. Still, it would be a complete disaster for Trump. We'll get to more Supreme Court shenanigans, lots on the Supreme Court in this episode. But first, a word from our sponsor, Chapter. Medical enrollment is right now. And I don't blame you for being confused, whether if you even know how to sign up. I'm only 59 years old, but I'm getting there. Pretty soon, this is going to be me having to make that call. And some of you don't know if you have the best plan, and I'm just a simple artist. I think it's very confusing. I do comic books, so I'm going to need help navigating those confusing waters. You need help from someone that you can trust and who I trust, and I'm proud to have you call the Doug in Exile Show sponsor, Chapter, at 631-961-8696. Today is the day. You guys will be a huge help to this show if you just call Chapter. Tell them Doug in Exile sent you. Chapter compares thousands of Medicare plans, and everyone who's called, you've all told me they've either saved you money, they've increased your coverage, or told you that you already to hold tight because you already have the best plan. And now you can sleep knowing, I've got the best according to the experts at Chapter. This isn't magic, though. It's a system I trust, but as in not magic, that phone number does not dial itself. So I need you guys to show your support and get a little help with something that I know is intimidating, but Chapter makes Medicare something easy. They go to bat for you. So that phone number is 631-961-8696. And the phone number, it's the first pinned comment below and in the description, 631-961-8696. Call Chapter. And now back to our show. We're going to get right in the middle of Gorsuch arguing with John Sauer, who is Trump's big attorney against Jack Smith. And he's defending Trump's tariffs to Gorsuch.
Through those words, I think you're saying that no, the president doesn't have inherent authority over tariffs in peacetime.
Absolutely. That is, we do not assert that. We say that Congress can delegate that to him, and when Congress does so, as it does when it uses the phrase regulate importation.
I follow all of that.
He sounds like RFK Jr.
Okay. You emphasize that Congress can always take back its powers. You mentioned that a couple of times. But don't we have a serious retrieval problem here? Because once Congress delegates by a bare majority and the president signs it, and of course every president will sign a law that gives him more authority, Congress can't take that back without a supermajority. And even that, it's going to be veto proof. What president's ever going to give that power back? Pretty rare president. So how should that inform our view of delegations and major questions?
So that's a reasonable argument. He wants to really maintain the power of Congress as a separate power, co-equal power to the presidency.
The balance that Congress struck, because what Congress did initially, it had a 2-house legislative veto.
And we struck that down.
Yeah. And then Congress went back to the statute and amended it. Yeah. It took out the legislative veto and left in the joint resolution, but still left the president with all those powers.
That's what Congress did?
Yes.
Fair enough. As a practical matter, in the real world, it can never get that power back.
I disagree, because in January 2023, Congress voted to terminate one of the biggest IEPA emergencies ever, the COVID emergency, and the president went along with that. So what the statute reflects is there's going to be the ability for a sort of political consensus against a declared emergency.
Well, what happens when the president simply vetoes legislation to try to take these powers
That's
back?
his job.
Well, he has the authority to veto legislation to terminate a national emergency, for example. I mean, he retains the powers in the background because IEPA is still on the books. But if he declares an emergency and Congress doesn't like it and passes a joint resolution, yes, he can absolutely veto that.
Yeah, Congress, as a practical matter, can't get this power back once it's handed it over to the president. It's a one-way ratchet toward the gradual but continual accretion of power in the executive branch and away from the people's elected representatives.
I disagree with that, and the recent historical counterexample of Congress's termination of the COVID emergency demonstrates that the political oversight
with the president's assent.
Meaningful.
Okay, that's a fair point that Gorsuch is making. This also exposes why Trump had to make the tariffs a national emergency, a security emergency, and John Sauer is saying he's not trying to get it permanently. He's saying it's an emergency, and he has some authority on that. We're going to get to more Supreme Court, but first I wanted to show you Tom Tuberville supporting Trump's support of removing the filibuster.
Okay, if we need to bust it, let's bust it. Let's knock it down to 51 and let the Senate know that, listen, the power needs to go to the president and let him get something done. If we don't, we're going to lose our country. It's going to be over with. And so
that's a fact. Tuberville gets it. John Kennedy is not going for it. Mike Johnson's not going for it. Thune's not going for it. This is what's at stake. People are going like, we have to preserve the filibuster and the tradition of the country. Your country's gone. Your country's gone if Trump can't overturn that filibuster. That's what Trump is really worried about. This isn't just selfishness. I'm telling you, he gets the battle at hand. And the battle at hand is the Democrats are going to impeach him if they don't start getting his agenda done through the filibuster, including straightening out ballots, mail-in ballots, voting stuff. They need a simple majority, 51 votes instead of 60 votes, and that would be fair.
He's got 3 years. He's the last Trump that we'll have in office. He's hard-nosed. He believes in this country. Let's give him some support. If he wants to blow up the filibuster, I'm all for it.
Tommy Tuberville has got it right. We follow Trump. Trump knows what he's talking about. I want to show you guys with Trump dealing with last night's blowout of the Democrats beating the Republicans, all in Democrat. Look, all those cities are already communist that won. So I don't especially, but look how Trump is just cool as a cucumber right here.
On November 5th, 2024, the American people reclaimed our government. We restored our sovereignty. We lost a little bit of sovereignty last night in New York, but we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
We'll take care of it. Does that sound like he's panicked to you? I think he's in control. He's projecting his confidence. Here's another one. I got another Trump quote here.
Legislation at levels you've never seen before, and it'll be impossible to beat us. By the way, if they do, they're going to do it anyway, and they are going to immediately do the filibuster. And when they do,
the Democrats are going to remove the filibuster. This is what's at stake. This is what I mean by they're going to end the government.
Filibuster. They're going to pack the court. They want at least five justices. Now I hear it's up to 5. I actually heard up to 7 and up to 9. Okay, they want new judges. They want to pack the court, and they will do it in the first day, maybe the week. Maybe they'll slow it down because there's no reason to rush. But they'll do it first week. They'll vote on this. And I have friends over there that are Democrats, I'm close to a lot of people. And I asked them about that because some people say, well, maybe they won't do that. I mean, they destroyed the career of Manchin and Sinema, and they got them out. They were the only objectors. Nobody else is going to object. They're going to do it the first day.
They're going to do it. James Carville even suggested it. A Democrat strategist, James Carville, goes, look, we have to do this. Okay, now I saved for the very end here. This is John Sauer, the guy that we heard earlier that sounds like RFK Jr. He absolutely corrects and destroys Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Did any president under TWIA use that language to impose tariffs?
Well, yes, President Nixon's 1971 tariff.
Not a tariff.
Visibly,
that wasn't a tariff. It was a licensing agreement during wartime. It was a specific thing. A tariff I'm talking about.
I'm referring to President Nixon's 1971 tariff.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes, I thought you meant Lincoln.
Nixon. That was a tariff. He corrected her. She goes, I thought you meant Lincoln, only off by 100 years. I'll keep you guys posted on what happens at the Supreme Court. Obviously, the tariff issue is number one on Trump's mind, too, because if that thing gets reversed, we're in deep, hot water. We need to pray for the Supreme Court to pick the right thing. We need to pray for the protection of America. We need to get some pressure on Congress to approve reversing the filibuster. Maybe reach out to a few shaky people that might be on the edge. It's going to be very hard to get that one passed through. I have more confidence in the Supreme Court with the tariffs, but I could be wrong on all of this, guys. Last night was a wake-up call to Republicans. The Democrats are still in business, their entire party. The old Democrats, the Schumer Democrats, they're dead, they're done. Carville, done. Even the old Clintonian form of Democrats, they're gone. The only people left are the radicals now in the Democrat Party. Just like there's hardly any Republicans left with real strength, all of the power and strength went to MAGA, a very active part of the Republican Party. The active part of the Democrat Party are a bunch of radical Marxists that are going to end this country. Pray for our country, but we're happy patriots all the way through. I believe in you and me to fix this country. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe and call chapter.